Imagine the air all around you. It might feel like nothing, but it is actually made of tiny, invisible bits called molecules. These molecules are always buzzing about, and they have weight. Now think about all the air stretching from the ground right up to the top of the sky, to the edge of space. That is a massive column of air, and it is all pressing down on you and everything else on Earth. This pushing force is what we call air pressure or atmospheric pressure. It is like being at the bottom of a huge ocean of air, with all the weight of the air above pushing down. This invisible weight is always there, but it is not always the same everywhere. The amount of pressure changes from place to place and from day to day. These changes are what create our weather. Think of it like a giant, invisible seesaw in the sky. When lots of air molecules get packed together in one spot, they push down harder, creating an area of high pressure. But in another spot, the air might be lighter and more spread out, pushing down with less force. This creates an area of low pressure. This simple difference, this pushing and pulling of the air, is the engine that drives everything from a gentle breeze to a mighty hurricane. It tells us whether we should pack a sun hat or an umbrella. So, why does the pressure change? It is mostly down to temperature. When air gets warm, its molecules get excited and start to move around faster and further apart. This makes the air lighter and causes it to rise up, leaving less air pushing down on the ground. This is how a low-pressure area often begins. On the other hand, when air gets cold, its molecules huddle closer together. This makes the air denser and heavier, so it sinks down towards the ground. This sinking heavy air is what creates an area of high pressure. It is a constant dance of warm air rising and cold air sinking all over our planet. Understanding this basic idea is the key to unlocking the secrets of the weather forecast. When you hear a weather forecaster talking about a high moving in or a low developing, they are talking about these huge domes of sinking air or rising air. These systems are massive, often covering hundreds or even thousands of miles. They move slowly across the globe, bringing their own special brand of weather with them. By knowing whether a high or a low is on its way, we can make a very good guess about what the weather will be like in the next few days. It is all about that invisible weight of the world. Let's meet high pressure system. I'm a big, heavy blob of air that likes to take it easy. I am made of cool, dense air that is slowly sinking towards the ground. As this air sinks, it gets squashed and warms up a little. This warming process is important because it stops clouds from forming. Think of clouds as big puffs of water vapor. My sinking air acts like a lid, preventing the warm, moist air from rising and turning into clouds. This is why I am known for bringing clear skies and settled weather. When I am in charge, you can expect lots of sunshine during the day. My personality is very calm and stable. Because I am so heavy, I push air outwards from my center, like ripples on a pond. This outward spiraling wind is usually very gentle. In the northern hemisphere, my winds spin in a clockwise direction. People love it when I come to visit in the summer. I can bring long periods of warm, dry, and sunny weather, perfect for holidays and barbecues. This is what you might call a heat wave. For example, the famous long hot summer of 1976 in the UK was caused by a very stubborn high-pressure system that just would not move for weeks on end. However, I am not always a welcome guest, especially in winter. While I still bring clear skies, the lack of a cloudy blanket has a different effect. During the day, the sun might be shining, but at night, all the warmth from the ground escapes back into space. This leads to very cold, frosty nights and foggy mornings. Sometimes the fog can be so thick that it lasts all day, creating gloomy and chilly conditions known as anticyclonic gloom. So, while I stop storms, I can also trap cold air and pollution near the ground, making the air quality quite poor in big cities. The main danger associated with me is not a sudden storm, but a slow, creeping problem. If a high-pressure system decides to stay in one place for too long during a hot spell, it can lead to a drought. The lack of rain for weeks or months can dry up rivers, damage crops, and lead to water shortages. Farmers get very worried when I overstay my welcome. This was seen across Europe during the summer of 2022, where a persistent high-pressure system led to record-breaking temperatures and widespread drought conditions, showing that even calm weather can have a dangerous side if it goes on for too long. Now, let's talk about my complete opposite, low-pressure system. I am the life of the party, but I can be a bit dramatic. I am born when air gets warm and starts to rise. Imagine a giant, invisible vacuum cleaner sucking air up from the ground. As this warm, moist air rises, it begins to cool down. This cooling is the magic ingredient for making clouds. The water vapor in the rising air turns into tiny water droplets, which all clump together to form big, gray clouds. And where there are clouds, there is often rain, snow, or wind. I am all about action and change. My nature is unsettled and energetic. Instead of pushing air out, I suck it in towards my center. This inward spiraling air creates wind, and because the air is rushing upwards so quickly, the winds are often strong and blustery. In the northern hemisphere, my winds spin in an anti-clockwise direction, the opposite of a high. When I am on my way, you can expect the weather to turn cloudy and wet. I bring the rain that fills the rivers and waters the plants. A classic example is the kind of drizzly gray day that is so common in Britain, often brought by a gentle low-pressure system moving in from the Atlantic Ocean. I am the system responsible for most of the exciting and stormy weather you see. The faster the air rises in my center, the more dramatic the weather becomes. A really intense low-pressure system can create powerful storms with gale-force winds and torrential rain. These are the storms that get given names by the Weather Service. Think of Storm Eunice, which hit the UK in February 2022. It was a very deep and powerful low-pressure system that brought record-breaking winds and caused a lot of disruption. My energy can be quite destructive when I am in a bad mood. The dangers I bring are usually more immediate and obvious than those of a high-pressure system. Strong winds can blow down trees, damage buildings, and create huge waves at sea. Heavy rain can lead to flooding, washing away roads and causing rivers to burst their banks. In the most extreme cases, very intense low-pressure systems over warm tropical oceans can grow into hurricanes, typhoons, or cyclones. These are the most powerful storms on Earth, capable of causing widespread devastation. So, while I am essential for bringing life-giving rain, it is always wise to be prepared when you hear I am heading your way. So, we have met the two main players in our weather story: the calm, heavy high, and the stormy, light low. The key difference is the direction the air is moving. In a high-pressure system, cool, dense air sinks downwards, leading to clear skies and settled weather. In a low-pressure system, warm, light air rises upwards, leading to cloud formation and unsettled, often wet and windy, weather. Highs are like a lid on the atmosphere, keeping things calm, while lows are like a chimney, drawing air up and creating drama. This simple up and down movement is the engine behind almost all the weather we experience daily. Both systems have their own set of dangers that we need to be aware of. High-pressure systems, despite their gentle nature, can be dangerous when they stick around for too long. In summer, they are the cause of intense heat waves and droughts, which can strain water supplies and lead to wildfires. In winter, they can trap cold air and pollution, creating freezing fog and poor air quality. For instance, a prolonged high-pressure system over a city like London in winter can lead to smog alerts, advising people with breathing problems to stay indoors. The danger from a high is slow and persistent. Low-pressure systems, on the other hand, bring more immediate and violent threats. Their strong winds and heavy rainfall are the cause of most storms. These can lead to flash floods, which happen very quickly and can be extremely dangerous for people caught unprepared. The powerful winds associated with deep lows can cause structural damage to homes, bring down power lines, and make travel hazardous. The Great Storm of 1987 in the UK is a famous example of an unexpectedly deep, low-pressure system that caused immense damage and taught forecasters a valuable lesson about the power of these systems. Paying attention to these systems is not just for weather forecasters, it is important for all of us. Understanding whether a high or a low is coming helps us plan our lives, from what to wear to whether we should cancel an outdoor event. It helps farmers decide when to plant or harvest crops, and helps sailors know when it is safe to go to sea. By watching the weather map and seeing where the H and L symbols are, we get a simple but powerful clue about the weather to come. They are the main characters in the story of our atmosphere, and knowing their personalities helps us prepare for whatever they decide to bring.